Oh, there you are, Tom. I thought I had the car outside.
How have you gone on?
Oh, all right. I were a bit slow with the change, and I'm glad I didn't have to put a new barrel on.
The cellar work's the most important thing, but you'd soon pick it up.
What about the Mrs. Tom? Any change?
It's all over, George. She died this morning just before I got there.
Yeah, well.
Aye.
Well, shall I put the kettle on?
You can get me a scotch, if you will, George. A double. Get one for yourself.
Right.
Thanks. I'll tell you what, George. I'd be glad if you'd stick around for the rest of the day, if you've nothing pressing to do.
Oh, you all right, Tom?
Are there any customers in?
No, not at the moment. No.
We'll shut the door in a minute, then I'll make us a bit of dinner.
Oh, well, I can do that if you tell me where everything is.
George, have you thought what you're going to do with yourself after the council takes over Maythorpe?
Well, I'll find something to occupy me, and I've saved a bit, you know.
Well, I've been thinking. I wondered what you'd say if I asked you to come in as a partner in this place.
You mean help you run the pub, like?
Yeah. Well, there's potential in the car side, but I can't do both. I could soon teach you all the cellar work. Could even give you driving lessons so you could take the car out as well.
Oh, that's a very good offer, Tom. I appreciate that.
Think it over. There's things to do to this place I've never got round to. When we first came here, I'd hopes of making this pub a real goer. But then when Lily didn't seem up to it...
Oh, she were poorly, Tom.
Aye. I'd swear now that she knew when we first came here. And she never told me. Not till she had to.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Beddoes.
Good afternoon.
I wonder if I might have a word with you.
Oh, I think so.
What's going to happen about the new town, Mrs. Beddoes? Do you know?
Well, I'm not on the joint committee. You'll have to ask Alderman Snaith or Alderman Astell.
Which site do you yourself favour, though?
Well, my people prefer Schedule A on the Lean Felly Ways, but they're not unreasonable. They'll accept what's best for the riding.
Do you think Mr. Snaith knows what's best for the riding?
I'll tell you what Mr. Snaith knows, and you can put this in your paper. Mr. Snaith knows that all of us, we aldermen, councillors, we all come and go, but the permanent officials stay on. They're the people that really matter, and they mostly get what they want.
Isn't that what you call bureaucracy, Mrs. Beddoes?
I don't know what you'd call it, but seems like common sense to me.
Yes, well, mate, there's one other thing. What about this Maythorpe mystery?
Well, Mrs. Beddoes, and how are you?
Mr. Snaith, have you any news for me?
News? You better ask our clerk.
Have you decided on a site?
Certainly.
A or B? B. Oh, good, splendid. Unanimous, was it?
No, hardly unanimous. But adequate.
Councillor Huggins.
Oh, good day to you, Mr. Brown, isn't it?
King's Park Chronicle. Have you come to hear the Joint Committee's decision, Councillor Huggins?
Oh, yes, indeed. You realise that I'm not a party to its deliberations, but this matter of the new town is one that's close to the hearts of all housing-conscious people in the county.
I've just been talking to Alderman Snaith. They've decided on the site.
Oh, good. Splendid. Now, Mr. Snaith,
Oh, Huggins.
perhaps you'd be good enough to explain yourself.
Explain myself.
Well, what's all this? What I've just heard about said you'll be.
Oh, it's quite simple. It's been decided to abandon Leam Ferry Waste and build on the other side of the Skerrow Road.
But what I want to know is what about the waste now? What about those sheds?
Sheds?
Well, you can't have forgotten the sheds we bought 15 months ago, you and I. I mean, you made the cheque out yourself to Reg Aythorne, £500.
Oh, yes. How's Mrs. Aythorne, by the way?
Well, all right. I believe they moved south.
Ah, that must be a great relief to you.
Hey, look here, Mr. Snaith. I want to know what you're up to. We can't go on working in the dark like this. Now, here it is as I see it.
Oh, do sit down, won't you?
Look, as I see it, here we are going to build a new housing estate, a new town. Now, you call up Astle and me, and you say your money's on Lean Ferry Way, so to speak. Then you call me up again when I'm in a tight corner.
No. Excuse me, Huggins. You came to see me.
Well, look, same thing. And you put me onto a good thing in land values. Now, you lend me £500 and we invested in those sheds on the waste for security, all right. But then you team up with Kinsport Corporation and you sit on a joint committee and now you say you don't want Lean Ferry Waste after all. Oh, no, it's no good to you now, that isn't. Now you want to build on the other side of the road where your new railway's going. Well, all right again, but what about the sheds, eh? What about our little investment?
Well, I've never pressed you for repayment, have I?
Repayment?
That little loan, £500, because your daughter's husband was in debt. It was your daughter, wasn't it?
Good God, man, you don't think we'd let it stop there when we got a good tip? Drew has put in 2,000 and Tagman another 1,000 and I've sold my life insurance to buy the 40 acres below Tagman's piece.
Ah, so that's the truth of the matter.
Well, of course it is. I mean, did you think we were all too slow to take your hint? I mean, you don't think... Look, surely you knew we should have...
Conspire to defraud the county council? No, I can't say that conclusion was uppermost in my mind. It was you, wasn't it, Huggins, who went to see Khan? It was you who started him shouting corruption by inviting him to join you. Now, why, I should like to know?
But to stop him spoiling it all. If he came in with us, he couldn't fight us on council. I mean, that's the way to get a man, isn't it? Make it worth his while to be on your side. You said yourself it was a pity Khan couldn't be persuaded to see sense.
Huggins, you'll be imagining next that I sent you to Khan. His reaction was exactly what I could have prophesied if I'd known you were going to do anything so foolish. You made him demand an inquiry into land purchase and slander me. You know how I dislike imputations of corruption.
Well, it was you that put us onto it. It was your idea. You said...
Excuse me, but I said nothing about a conspiracy to force up land prices. Didn't you realize that this sort of thing can't be done in the dark? That real estate can't change hands and no one be any the wiser? There are such things as conveyancing and leases. Documents. I should have thought a child in arms would know enough to steer clear of that kind of folly.
Well, everybody does it.
Everybody? Not, I hope, in the South Riding. Nor in many other county councils, I think.
Then why the devil did you put me onto it? I mean, what did you lend me that 500 for? Don't tell me it was for charity.
I wouldn't be so stupid as to call it charity.
I reckon you meant to have a gamble and then got scared.
To have a gamble, yes. But not quite in the way you mean. Well, there are more ways than one of gambling. Some people like horses, some cards, others go into the stock exchange. I prefer to put my money on human nature. Well, I pride myself on knowing it, and I like to back my fancy.
Human nature?
Oh, there were several ways I could have spent that £500. I could have bought another motor car. The one I have is perfectly satisfactory. Or invited a number of people whom I dislike to share meals which would give me indigestion in my house, which I prefer to have to myself. I could have travelled to America, which I'd no desire to revisit. Or added another wing to my house, which is already quite big enough. But no, on the whole, I decided to expend it on my hobby. That would give me pleasure. So I handed it over to you to see what you would make of it.